everybody. Welcome back to the Forgotten Horror Podcast with me, Davey and Carlos. And we have a nice classic for us to get our teeth into tonight. We're going to be going back to 1977, one of Wes Craven's earlier films, and it needs no introduction, but it is The Hills Have Eyes. So, Carlos, would you like to introduce our special guest today?
Yes, Horror Movie Memories, episode 18. We have a special guest, Paul, known as Brum Horror. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he's quite well known on Instagram, and he's followed by the horror community in the UK and worldwide. So, yeah, big horror fan. He knows his stuff, and his love for horror movies is without any question. So, for quite some time, we've wanted to do an episode with Paul. So do check him out on Instagram. We'll probably share his Instagram link and check
definitely share. I follow him anyway, so
I do as well.
Anybody who's into horror must be following Paul. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you can see on Paul's on his Instagram, he's picking up some great sort of horror collectibles and some of the top editions in physical media. So, Paul, many thanks for appearing on this special episode of this Wes Craven classic.
Thanks for having me. It's been a long time in the making.
Yeah, you have,
yeah.
Right, so our story begins with a family going on a bit of a vacation. They've got the old station wagon and they got a caravan in tow, like we all did in the 70s. I miss those times. I miss those times. We used to always go to Pontins. But, this family in the 70s, they're on the way. The mum and dad, they got the two daughters, one of their boyfriend, and a newborn baby, a newish born baby. And they stop off at a gas station and decide to get some direction of where to go. Now, the old-timer is very, very reluctant to give him directions, and he heads them off into the desert, and he just says to him, "Stay on the roads." Where have we heard that from before? Keep to the roads. I don't know where we've heard that from before, but we keep hearing that one, but stick to the roads. Anyway, they don't, and off they go. So from there, we get quite a bit of interesting things start happening, guys, don't we?
Definitely.
Paul, do you want to give us some more insights? Because I know this is one of your favourites, isn't it?
Yeah, they. I don't want to spoil it for anybody if they haven't seen it, obviously, but it's a ragtag bunch of, I don't know if you could call them inbreds, hillbillies, or aliens. They could be called aliens. If you watch the German thing, they had to be called aliens because they didn't want it to get banned for any themes that were
themes
tasteless.
Yeah,
because the cannibalism thing was a big no in Germany, so they weren't called. I think they called them mutants or aliens or something like that.
Mutants, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, and then it just goes all pear-shaped from there. They get attacked in the brutal ways, but they get killed in some. Well, obviously they get where they crash the caravan, then they have to try and find not knowing what's going on, and they split up. The old man goes one way, and the new dad, Dee Wallace's boyfriend, goes off the other way. Woody Allen.
Yeah. Well, if I remember correctly, it's like there's like fighter planes like Top Gun flying around over the desert, isn't there? And they're very loud. And I think that spooks them, doesn't it? It spooks because it's very, very loud. It spooks them. So what does the old man do? Pulling a trailer. He sticks his foot on the floor of the station wagon. It must handle like the Titanic, the Titanic without the trailer on. But he's pulling this big trailer with people inside, and he's flooring it down this dirt track because he's thinks he's being attacked by the airplanes.
Yeah, because it's the old woman's reading the Matt
The Matt,
Pinchy, and she
that's
gets
right.
spooked because she screams like a good one, and then he starts singing and he jackknifes the caravan, and it's like the National Lampoon's Pea
The,
Green
the
Brown
last,
station wagon, isn't it, with the wooden panelling?
that's right. The last thing I saw was like a little rabbit in the road, and I think he tried to swerve to avoid that. And I thought, no,
Yeah,
no. And he just
yeah,
totally KOs the car.
Yeah.
And
jackknifes it and ends up they look like a mound, isn't it, like a rock?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's total. So, but I was always thinking, was the newborn baby and that in that trailer, because they'd have had a hell of
Yeah.
an emergency stop, wouldn't they?
Yeah, because that's the last thing. They check that everyone comes out dishevelled, don't they? Out the back of there.
They
It's
all come out like
basically,
they've been on the moon dust.
I mean, even though it's classed as a horror movie, it's a battle for survival because the Carter family, whenever an old timer sort of says, make sure you stay on track,
Yeah.
it's not going to go down that road. And obviously, they're trying to go to LA, and they got to go through the Nevada desert, and obviously they have that accident, and they're stranded in this heat in the Nevada desert, and obviously one of them goes. I think it's Bobby. I think one of the dogs goes.
Yeah,
missing.
runs off.
So they kind of all split their way. Bobby goes one way. Old man Bob, he goes another way, and then obviously they set like a time when they're going to sort of turn up, and obviously it's later on in the evening and it's getting dark. So obviously, this family of cannibal savages are in the hills, and obviously, they're going to sort of attack this family, and just become a battle of sort of survival and sort of wills. And your typical classic sort of cult B movie horror movie. This is one that I've always enjoyed watching. Wes Craven's second movie. I mean, I know you two guys, you definitely got your VHS tapes. I mean, this is my 4K edition. I mean, I know Paul and Davey are going to show their retro VHS cover. Come on, Davey, get that retro VHS cover, because it's one of the most memorable VHS covers.
Yeah, and it was that
orange cover.
Jaguar video.
Yeah. Mine's got the
wow.
Oh, that's different to mine. I think mine's the
Jaguar one.
I don't know.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, the good thing on this Arrow edition, they did keep the orange in the cover.
Yeah.
And this movie, I actually watched this. I mean, obviously for me, this movie does sort of have Texas Chainsaw Massacre influences. I actually watched this one before, and my memory of this, we had like a mobile video man, Mirror Video, that was his name, and he was a friend of me dad's, and it would be every Friday he'd come knocking on the door, and it would just give like 2 or 3 tapes. One of them was The Hills of Eyes, and what grabbed me was the title, the picture of Michael Berryman, because I'd never seen a character that looked like that. I mean, straight away, it's going to be a horror movie. I mean, with that look, it just grabbed my attention straight away. I mean, even if it kind of would have been a sort of maybe 6 months or a year or two later, and I would have walked in the video store, I probably would have grabbed it off the shelf, because the way it looked, it just kind of screamed at me to watch this movie. I mean, it's quite a graphic and violent movie for the 70s, no doubt. Paul, Davey, your horror movie memories on The Hills of Eyes?
Go on, Paul.
Mine, obviously, I wasn't born till 82, so obviously it was way thingy. But mine, again, video shop, saw it. I had a thing. There was this Day of the Dead, the old American Werewolf in London, and obviously I'm like 7, 8, 9, and my dad and my dad's younger brother were best friends with the family that owned, because obviously I'm from a small really small town. Like, so stuff like that, nothing got pulled off the shelves. It was just
Yeah.
put in the back, and then you asked
That's
for
it.
it, let's call it. But at 7, 8, and 9, and this film, obviously it's the iconic artwork. It's been used over and over again.
Yeah.
It used to scare the life out of me. It put me off watching it, so I didn't see this till like the early 90s, thinking, oh yeah, Michael Berryman. You see that picture, and it was like, oh no, it's that one's not for me. In me, like 7, 8, 9. Watch Day of the Dead, watch Miracle Elf in London, no problem. But for some reason, it was that picture of Michael Berryman that put me off. And then when I finally did get round to watching it, I'm like, why did I think he? Because obviously he looks dead menacing on the artwork, but the film, he's just quite childlike and he's a bit
Yes.
like simple. So he's not menacing in the slightest. Obviously,
He's quite
a bad
hokey,
guy.
quite hokey and jovial, isn't he? He's quite
Yeah. And obviously,
so.
down the line, I've met Michael Berryman. I forgot to get it out. I've got a signed
This
artwork signed by Michael Berryman, and I met him and I've just literally just told him the same as what I've just told you. You put me off watching that film, and all he said was he laughed and said, "Obviously, did my job."
Yeah, there you go.
Did my job, but that artwork is iconic. It's just iconic.
The look of him is so bang on, Paul, because when you look at that, there was another film that he did called Cuss and Run, and I had the poster of that on my wall as a kid, and he was swinging a blade or an axe or something, and you swear that he was the most evil human being on the planet at that time. My sister and the friends, they went to the video shop, rented it, brought it back, and straight away, you know, the cover, you just get like a chill, because people don't understand now, Paul. But back in the early 80s, when this was all new, there was nothing like this before. And horror films at that time hadn't really evolved. All the horror films was brand new. There was not remakes, there was not sequels, there was none of that. So this stuff was all brand new. So this was like the ultimate test. We'd moved on from the Hammer horror and the Universal monsters. We're getting into serious territory here. Family of inbred cannibals living in the hills, looking like they did. It was terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
So my sister went to the video shop. She rented this out, well, a couple of them along. But it was this cover that stood out to me when I was about 8 when I watched it, 8 and 9 when I watched it. And I looked at it and I was just like, oh, this is going to be horrendous. And like my sister said, well, you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. You know what I mean? You can go out playing or whatever on your bike or something. You don't have to watch it. You know what I mean? Oh, no, I'll watch it, because I was watching everything else for them. So I thought, well, I might as well. Plus, it gave me the excuse to sit between my sister's friends who were quite nice at the time. You know what I mean? So and they would take care of me like their little brother. You know, they'd cuddle me and that. So of course I was going to stay in with them. You know what I mean? I was 8, 9 years old. I was like teenage girls. Of course, I'm all in. So we put this on, and from the get-go, you know, looking back now, what Carl said before, it has got such Texas Chainsaw vibes at the beginning. Yeah. When it comes on, you see the gas station, and it's just a gritty, sweaty environment. You think, oh yeah, you're in the sticks right here. You know what I mean?
That grainy, dirty look to it, ain't it?
Oh, it's a very sweaty, grainy film. And I was like, okay. And mixed with that desert background, Paul, it's a perfect stomping ground for a film like this.
Yeah, because that's the thing that's always got me with it. You think most of these films with stuff like this, it's always in close quarters, isn't it? They're in a house, they're in woods, close-up settings, and yet this is just a wide open space. You didn't know what was coming and what have you. But like I say, that artwork put me off watching it.
Yeah. It was so iconic, because even in broad daylight, there's a sense of threat there, isn't there? There's a sense of threat. You know someone's watching them. After they crash the car and they split up, that's when the tension starts to build. No, there's no real soundtrack or music like stings like in Carpenter's Halloween or in Psycho. There's nothing like that. It's just pure sound, them going off in the the dad tries to go back to the gas station. That's where he's heading back to the old man at the beginning to get help out there. But as soon as that crash happens, me as a viewer, probably you guys as well, that sense of dread starts creeping up. Because, like you said, this is a wide open space.
Hmm.
There could be coyotes, wolves, all sorts out there, rattlesnakes, all sorts of stuff out there. And it's like a vast desert. It's wide open. You think you'd see the terror coming, but you don't. You get it through the eyes of voyeurs watching them, and you just hear weird voices and
the dog noises when they make the dog noises.
Oh my God!
Yeah, like proper, like they've done it 100 times before, isn't it? The proper. This is not the first time, sort of thing.
So you get an introduction to one of the family back at the gas station with the old man, Ruby. Now she's also like the nice one out of the bunch, and she doesn't agree with what they're doing. She's got a bit of substance to her. There's a bit of a backstory there with her. So she's trying to, do the right thing. So we get a sense that they're not all bad. Well, she's not at all, but the rest of them, they seem to be stuck in the ways.
I kind of get that maybe she was kind of planning some sort of an escape because, like you say, she doesn't really agree with what the family.
I was going to say, Ruby, when you look at her compared to the rest of them, and I've read a few things and what have you, obviously not recently, but they'd said that the way the story plays out, they seem to think that because she's she's not as dirty looking, she seems to have a bit about her, that she might have been a stolen kid.
Yeah.
She was a stolen child rather than one of their family, like.
They hinted at it, Paul. The big mother hinted at it about being abandoned or something. She was abandoned. You were an abandoned or a runaway or something. And I thought, no, they stole her because they've done the same thing to her what they plan to do with
the other kid,
the new one. And Ruby just grew up with them, thinking that the family, but she knows she's different.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think through the actions of what she witnesses, she starts twigging. Hang on a second. This doesn't feel. This is wrong.
Yeah,
but it's that.
I actually was going to add, as we was talking about the desert, and something just kind of more so back in them days. I mean, obviously with the budget that they had to improvise a lot. I mean, obviously these days you don't have to be on location to film wherever. So for me, the real location in the Mojave Desert in California, that's a character in itself.
Yeah.
Because obviously the cannibal family, all names of planets, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Pluto, all that sort of thing, easy to remember. But I mean, they're scary enough, especially Papa Jupiter. But the desert, I mean, just the hills. I mean, the location that's kind of really eerie and scary because obviously, like Davey said, that open space, whether it's in daylight or in the dark, it's quite a frightening. It's quite a frightening thing to imagine. Just being there. I mean, they said that on location when they filmed this movie, things were difficult. With the heat, 4-month location, and they were literally on minimum wage. This is, small time actors that they just put together. I mean, even some of the stunts they had to sort of do themselves, and even some of the wardrobe were
their own clothes.
Scraps. They said they put half of their. I remember I've obviously watched the featurettes loads of times and that the making of, and they said a lot of the wardrobe was old bits, old leather jackets they cut up, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
bits of fur jackets, stuff from like flea markets and what have you,
Yeah. Thrift
put
store.
together.
Right,
A lot of
Yeah.
improvisation on the set. It was just thingy, and I think the grueling conditions they were in comes across on the performances. I
Oh
think
God, yeah.
because they
Yeah.
said it was like 110, 120 degrees in the daytime, and then within a few hours it was dropping to
Yeah.
minus figures at night time.
Yeah. I mean,
Even with, I mean, obviously this guy. I mean, the reason I was going to say his unique look. Obviously, we all know
Yeah.
that Michael Berryman had a rare condition, and like they had to keep him hydrated. He doesn't have any sweat glands, so it was a worry for him. You know,
Yeah.
doing
Easily
the filming.
burnt out,
Yeah,
overheated, died from heat
and
stroke.
the look of Michael Berryman. Obviously, it's no makeup needed, no sort of mask or anything. That was his unique look. That's why he was such a cult sort of favorite in other horror movies and TV shows. I mean, a recognizable face
Yeah.
and a very unique look. I mean, he always stood out. I mean, I can't help not sort of keep looking at it because
Yeah.
you always recognize that shot. I mean, whenever he's in a movie or even a small sort of minor part, I always think of him. Oh, there's Pluto out of the Hills of Eye.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but for me, I always think of what the Hills of Ice first.
It always
every
goes
time.
back to this. Cut
Always.
and Run, Weird Science.
That's a good movie. Cut
Mm.
and Run. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
he
it.
was even he was even spotted in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson. He was
Yeah.
one of the patients. They get drunk.
He
Like
was
that.
funnier than that. He kind of belonged in there. But I mean, he's got a great cast. This movie, obviously,
He was
we've got
in The Crow. He was meant to be in The Crow, wasn't he, as the Skull Cowboy with Brandon Lee?
oh,
And
okay.
yeah, they ended up cutting his part out because of the scripts and what happened with Brandon. But he was supposed to be the Skull Cowboy in The Crow, and there's all sorts of makeup tests with him in. I mean, I'd have left it in. You know what I mean? Well,
Yeah.
apart from Michael Berryman, we've got a very, very young Dee Wallace here.
Yeah.
Was this a first movie, or was it?
One of her early ones.
When you
'Cause I
speak
think-
to her on a, when they speak to her on a thingy, she said she'd done nothing before. Obviously, she had done stuff, but she always counts this as her first
Yeah,
big role, her first
'Cause
big
it
time
was-
role.
because it was Cujo, I think, afterwards, wasn't it? Cujo.
Yeah,
Is it
she did.
Cujo that came after? And then it was like the Howling and E.T. followed.
Was a big thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Critters. She was in loads, wasn't she? It was-
Critters, yeah,
it
that
was
was
the-
yeah.
She was the. If you like read anything, she was the big send off from this film, wasn't she? She was the one that blew up after.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, she
Yeah.
worked Cujo, the Howling, Critters, E.T. E.T. propelled her into the stratosphere, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
She's still around. I think she's she's got to be in her early 70s or even late 70s.
yeah,
but
she's in a lot of Rob Zombie's films.
Yeah.
Halloween, yeah.
She
Halloween.
She's
was
still
a lot.
acting today. She's in.
Lovely woman.
I can't remember what we watched. We watched something a while back, and she was in. And thought, oh, Dee Wallace, but she was only in it for like the first 5 or so minutes. But
Yeah,
she's in The Frighteners as well, aren't she?
Frighteners,
yeah, she was.
yeah,
Yes, she was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
As the older. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, an amazing, versatile actress. So this role, she plays like the young mum in this, the older daughter with the baby, and
Yeah.
the boyfriend who's, yeah, Sideshow Bob, whatever he's called. He was, them two are like the young couple together. She is like she still has that feist to her in there, because you forget this is like I was talking about the wide open space, but when it starts going into nightfall, then it starts getting even more creepy because it's out there and they're in the bushes whispering, and they're not
Yeah.
far away from the trailer. And like one dog's gone missing, the other dog's chained up going ape, so they're around. The dad's gone walking off to meet, and he gets to the gas station to speak to the old man, but bad stuff starts happening there. So and it's all under the cover of darkness. So that really sells this. That the
Yeah.
darkness in this film really sells it, because you know they're around and you know they're deranged, and there's nothing so far at this point has happened, but the threat is growing and growing and growing. I think when it first starts, the main assault, the main thing was over an hour into the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause when what's his because obviously the Bobby he goes after the dog, doesn't he? Then
That's
he
right.
falls down and knocks himself out.
That's
And
right.
then he's spooked out, but he doesn't say anything, does he? Keeps
Mm.
it to himself because he doesn't want to
Yeah.
scare anybody else. And then obviously,
And that's the catalyst that ends them all, because if
Yeah.
we'd have shared that information straight away, they'd have been all far more aware of what was going on.
because Groucho Marx turns up then, doesn't he? And him and D. Wallace get in the back of this wooden station wagon, and
Yeah,
that lad's trying his best not to. Bobby's trying his best not to interrupt,
I know,
but
because
he's
they're having a
obviously
moment.
clearly spooked out because he's obviously seen the dead dog.
Yeah.
And that was
So we
another
know-
thing I didn't know till today. Apparently, the
Real.
dead dog was a real dog.
There's a real carcass, which I think Wes Craven, he didn't want to say where they got the dog.
Oh.
Because just on the rewatch, well, 2 rewatches before this episode, I thought, bloody hell, that dog does look a bit bloody real. And I mean, when you don't really see him getting hacked, you just see a couple of bits thrown in midair as Bobby's looking up, and obviously you can hear the noise of Beauty, which is you kind of think, oh, what's happening there? And obviously, there is another dog, Beast, which I mean, I kind of laugh at that, the moment where Beast, she or he, the dog takes out one of them,
Gets the revenge.
Takes out Mercury, who actually I did not know
the producer,
was the producer, which I laughed at that, because obviously they didn't have the money for the stuntmen, and the producer, Peter Locke?
Peter Locke,
he actually done the stunt, which I thought, wow, you got the producer doing one of the stunt work. So
you think of the times, though, guys. You think of the time, 1977. This was. So yeah, you could fully understand why Wes Craven used a real dog for the carcass, because effects at those days wasn't probably that advanced.
No,
but everything was still going to be practical.
And with the money they'd got, they couldn't do anything.
No,
it was never going to be thingy. The whole
not for a quick scene like that, where where it's implied the dog's being butchered.
Even the equipment was borrowed. They said they borrowed the cameras and that to make the film from a famous studio. PORN studio.
Well,
see, this is how these classic films was made back then. They steal and borrowed and using anything they could to just get through. And that's part of the magic of these films. That's what always sells everything of these films. The 70s and 80s, 70s and early 80s horror films, for me, are the best, because they're just physical effects. They're just thrown in, and the passion for making them's there. You can see they've got a shoestring budget, but it still doesn't matter, because you believe in what you're seeing on screen. Absolutely amazing.
Blood, sweat, and tears into it onto the thingy. And for a film that costs, I think it was 350k?
Something like that, yeah.
Made 25 million.
Wow.
25 million at the box office.
Well, it forced a sequel then, didn't it?
Oh, I wasn't a fan of the sequel, because it just, I mean, the story behind that, where it's based on the dog's memory. I actually, back in the VHS days, I actually didn't mind the movie. I actually didn't mind the movie, but then when I watched it about a year or two again, I thought it is nonsense, and it is a bit stupid. I mean, if I go to a second movie, I always go to the remake, which the remake, I get a lot of sort of newer movie horror fans. They kind of might prefer the remake. I still slightly edge the original just for its grittiness and education. That's
I
just
love it. I love the remake and the second part of the remake, but
yeah.
you
That's,
can't beat this.
No.
The original's the best by far.
yeah.
Yeah. I went to the cinema watching the remake, and I really enjoyed the grittiness of that as well, because that had a nice gritty feel to it.
Mm.
But this was one of the very early cannibals type films around, wasn't it? Probably one of the very first, before the cannibal films had been made.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot about obviously the story, because if it wasn't for Peter Locke, Hills of Eyes wouldn't have even been made in a desert. The plan was for him to film in a forest
New Jersey.
in New Jersey, yeah.
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 And obviously he's said he used to travel to Las Vegas a lot and push the idea forward. But then you hear there's so many contradictions, because obviously with films this old, you've got the cast telling stories, you've got the directors telling stories,
Yeah.
so you don't know what to believe. But to me, that adds to it. You know,
Yeah.
like these daft little things where they said like the spider thing wasn't planned in the film; they just found it out on the
Yeah.
floor and
I heard
just
that. Yeah.
got it in like a makeshift terrarium, and then just used it. What you call it? It's like guerrilla filmmaking, isn't it?
Just took the words out of my mouth. It's
Yeah.
literally guerrilla filmmaking. It's on the spot, improvising. You know,
We
if
can
you've got
use
that, well, that's a good idea. We'll use that. And
That's it.
you know, it's like the Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All those movies, for me, they're kind of like these. They just got that gritty grindhouse look about these movies. I mean, I watched these with. I rewatched it again last night, and obviously today. But last night I watched it with my nephews. Obviously, they're a lot. You know, they're only 17, so I kind of knew that they wouldn't really go for this, because going into it, I said this is a bit like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because they'd watched that. They didn't mind that, but I think they're at that age where it kind of didn't kind of resonate with them. Obviously,
Yeah.
with us guys watching movies on VHS tape with not perfect picture and stuff, we didn't mind that.
Yeah.
That was the normal thing, watching a movie on a VHS tape or even a DVD. Obviously, you know, when you get 4K and it kind of evens everything out, everything looks, you can see everything picture perfect. You know, it's just kind of one of them ways to watch a movie. So I had to try to tell them, you know, this is a 1970s movie, filmed very low budget. So just bear in mind you're not going to be watching something like Sinners, you know, where everything's like,
Polished.
you know, polished, clean and clean cut and everything, and everyone's, you know, in prime designer sort of clothing set for the movie. And it's the reason why, obviously, as the movie goes on, I mean, a lot of the kind of violent acts, I mean, it kind of gets going when they kind of, the old man Bob, he kind of gets, they tie him up on the tree, and obviously they leash that explosion, and they kind of kidnapped the baby, and all, you know, all shit sort of hits the fan, and it's like a real battle of survival. People getting shot, people getting slashed, and yeah, great
That was
scene.
a brutal scene. Brutal scene. Very brutal scene for what we saw. I was just going to say, that was like, you see, that's just like an hour, just over an hour into the film. This starts really getting to the nitty gritty over an hour, which is quite late for a horror film. But the tension's been built up, the characters have been established, and then next thing we've got this, and the attack. They get the guy on the tree. They set fire to him. He causes the distraction. They run into the trailer, and the girls start putting up a fight. You know, they start doing it, and it is a violent scene, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and a lot was cut out of it, they reckon, as well, because they, in America, I know for Wes Craven said he had to cut that much out of it just to get it to an R rating, because otherwise it would have been lumped in with the porn stuff and that, because it was
X-rated for them.
Yeah, they didn't want it to have an X rating because they knew no one would get to see it.
See, that's what happened. See, he'd already been there with The Last House on the Left,
Yeah.
so he was all, because that was the film before. He thought, right, I'll put more. I think more of the sexual assault was in it. You know what I mean? I think there was more of that stuff going on as well. And yeah, you could see where that was going in that trailer, and you could see the grittiness. I mean, Michael Benjamin was still quite hokey in there, but it was the other guy with the weird teeth and the.
Mars.
Grandma wig and the Billy Bob teeth. But he's a nasty piece of
For
work
me,
in that, isn't he?
He was the worst character out of all of them for me.
Yeah.
He was
With
the
the
one that was like,
Yeah.
nah, he needs to be beheaded pretty quickly.
Yeah, with the bird.
I
Yeah.
heard that there
A
was
smack on the way in.
Yeah.
You guys might. I heard there was a room that Papa Jupiter. They were. I don't know whether it got written in the script or there was thinking possibilities that they were even going to stretch the boundaries even further. That they were actually going to eat the baby, believe it or not.
Yeah. I'd read Wes Craven said that was discussed that the baby killing, but they didn't. They wouldn't have got it through.
Yeah.
Or
I think the movie. I mean, obviously, when Brenda's, fighting for survival, and obviously the baby gets taken away, and Dee Wallace is fighting, and obviously the mother, she becomes a casualty. I mean, just them fighting in the trailer, that was, you can see them sort of like crawling in the trailer, and that was tough to watch.
Yeah,
and that was horrific in itself.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously,
And
when they take the baby, it's a little bit, you think, ooh, they're going to go there, but
and back then, like I say, on the Next Generation on, but even that, when I see films like this now, and you think, imagine sitting there watching this in 1977, thinking,
yeah,
it's like I say, you'd seen nothing like death. Obviously, these were the films that were breaking the back of their gothic haunted castle films.
Of course they were.
And some of the films that come out of that time, and like I say, things like that scene, it's vile, isn't it? And
yeah, it doesn't hold back, does it? It doesn't hold back.
Wes Craven didn't hold back in Last House. I mean, the disemboweling scene. So he was used to getting his hands dirty in that say. So that trailer scene was, you could see how gnarly that would have been if it would have been allowed or did do. And I was the same, Paul. I heard that they were on about going there with the baby as well.
yeah.
I mean, and if you think of that in 1977, this is 1977. What would people be thinking in that? I mean, people were passing out watching The Exorcist. That scene in the trailer was every bit as graphic. It was like here we go.
Yeah, and you think of the kickoff they had with Dawn of the Dead the following year with the two kids that get shot when they go into that, and they open the door and they shoot the two kids.
Yeah,
there was an uproar with that. So imagine what they'd have said a year before with the baby.
Yeah, being eaten. Yeah, honestly.
I always grimace when there's a scene with the kids, because you don't normally expect it. Obviously, the one that always stands to my mind was Assault on Precinct 13, when the kid gets shot near the ice cream van. You sort of don't expect that. So I'm kind of glad
Stone cold, wasn't it?
That was cold. So
I always thought that was David Bowie that shoots the kid in Assault on Precinct 13. But David Bowie just shot a little girl.
Yeah,
David Bowie. But I mean, there was a scene where, like, when the guy with the big hair, Mars, he goes.
Horrible character.
He sees the bit that made me laugh. He sees the little budgie, and he sees the budgie in the cage twerping, and I totally forgot about that, and I thought, don't tell me he's going to go for the budgie, and he pulls the budgie out, and
warm drink.
I tell you what. So again, back in the day, that again, animals again. It's like we got a real life dead dog on set. We got a budgie getting his head bitten off. there's no real boundaries to this thing. There's an assault going on. There's a crucifixion style thing going on with setting them on fire.
A real
There's,
tarantula.
there's shootings of the women as well. I mean,
Yeah, because the
and you can
old
see-
woman, I read that as well. The squib that she'd got in her when she got shot, they had to take her to the hospital because it malfunctioned or something and really hurt her. Like, so that reaction that she has when she gets shot was a genuine. I'm
Yeah.
in pain.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
just
Shot
burnt
me.
my skin.
Yeah, you shot me basically.
Mm.
I mean, Paul, Dave, I think all the actors and actresses were hurting from this. Obviously, a lot of the running scenes of the jumping on the hills. I mean, you can quite easily twist ankles and break legs, and
God, easy.
it's a gruesome shoot. Obviously, in where they were. So, for the budget that they were on, the minimum wage they were taking, and working long hours in the heat, Wes Craven somehow he's made a cult classic out of nothing. And like you said, it made $25 million. And for me, it really made his career because obviously from this movie onwards, obviously he would go on to greater things, Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream. But I think this movie definitely made his career. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, I love Scream and I love Nightmare on Elm Street, but for me, these early is I prefer his lesser works, if you know what I mean. Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left, Serpent and the Rainbow,
Yeah,
People Under the Stairs,
that's it.
even Deadly Blessing,
Deadly Blessing. I was going to mention Deadly Blessings.
because that was what he made. That was his next
Yeah.
one on one.
Yeah,
Michael Berryman again.
that's right. That's right. I mean, Wes Craven. I mean, he did Shocker as well, which is underrated.
Yeah.
That was a class one as well. But he established himself. I think, with Last House on the Left. I mean, that thing come out and it just caused all sorts of controversy. Band Aid, but it caused all sorts of controversies. And again, that was another film that's got about 3-4 different cuts of the film. So he's got different versions. So when it comes to this one, he was more gung-ho action. There was more gung-ho action in this one than Last House. Last House was brutal. This had some brutality to it, but it was played out in a better way.
Yeah, it's got a softer edge to it as well.
Yeah,
it's not as it is grimy, but not as.
It's got a bit more humour in with the characters, with Michael Berryman's character and the way he reacts to things, and
soften the blow. It
is. You think he's going to be the actual most horrendous human being, but he's not. He's not at all. So we're getting to the climax after that, because it was like it's proper a fight for survival now, isn't it? You got your family massacred, so you've got the younger daughter who was assaulted, and you get Bob with the gun, the young lad who's trying to keep it together as well, and the boyfriend's gone into the wilderness to find the family, and we've beefed the dog. Baby. Yeah, to get the baby back. So he comes across the home, doesn't he? And he's got one of the walkie-talkies. He's trying to relay the messages back, but he's interrupted because something happens, and the walkie-talkie, Papa Jupiter says, "Kill the baby." So he hears it, and he just goes running into action. And he's all prepared to carve that baby up, that Mars fella, isn't he?
But obviously, they have other plans.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ruby comes to the rescue, and she really comes through there. And again, it's a very, very physical altercation. Like Carlos was saying, that terrain is very unforgiving, and the running. I mean, the heat as well. The running in must be 100-degree heat, and they're just. You can see how it's taken a toll on all of them, even the villains are.
And there's no caution in the running either, is there?
No.
It's like it's full bore, isn't it? It's not like like if you you'd be trying your best to act, but you'd be cautious, thinking I'm going to turn my ankle or something.
Absolutely, you could see the
Bounding down these
concern. Yeah,
rocks and what have you.
yeah, you can see the concern. And it gets to the and again, it's quite violent. The bloody rattlesnakes involved in the
Yeah. Without going to spoiler territory,
yeah.
we don't want to give the ending away. I mean, there is quite a real battle towards the end. There is an alternative ending.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask Paul, and obviously you, Dave, I've seen both versions of the ending. Obviously, the alternative ending is just kind of a scene played before, and then you kind of get a bit more of a, I wouldn't say a celebration ending, but Ruby's actually there, kind of more of a handshake.
Yeah.
The dog's there as well, Beast.
Yeah.
So, out of the two endings, which one did you prefer, Davey, Paul?
I like the blunt ending there.
Yes. Yeah.
Ends on Groucho Marx. Close up of Groucho Marx, giving it some.
Yeah. I was going to say, because it's such a strong ending, which makes you think that he's lost the plot. Because the way Ruby's reaction to him killing, doing what he does.
Groucho Marx.
Makes her wince, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that. I think that's the ending that you probably believe more because of what they've been through as a family, as a collective. What we've seen some horrendous and heinous crimes, some brutality. It was desperation to do what he did, and he was pushed. That's the result. That's the result. What was more believable? I mean, some of these horror films that we've watched, the endings always seem to let him down because they've been through such traumatic trauma, and then it's a handshake and they go off into the sunset. No,
Because it literally
there.
I think the alternative ending only really.
Credits.
I think the alternative ending only really works for Ruby's story as a possible, way that they could have gone, because obviously, she's helped the family out as such, and obviously you've got the bit with the dog, with the handshake, and I suppose, I'll go with the original.
It's just that blunt, straight to the point. There's no, but it also feeds, like Davey said, it feeds to that switching role reversal, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that feeds into, again, that's got that Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
Story. It's got the similarities of it.
Absolutely.
And what people are capable of when they're pushed.
That's it.
Like, who's the real monsters?
Yeah. Absolutely. And that for the final frame of that is just perfect ending for me. It was a perfect ending, that one.
Cut straight to the credits. It's a good, and it's like I say, it's brutal, and like I say, that it's all they give it the whole film. It's like give it all. Like Susan Lanier that plays the young girl. I was looking today because I'm thinking I've not really seen her in a lot else.
Yeah,
a lot else, and she wasn't really. They said she was one of these big American shows after she was pending to do that. Was it Family Ties or something like that? She was meant to do, and they went, and then they realised she wasn't for the right part. She's still in stuff. She's still doing indie horror films now, like a lot of these older. But I thought she was brilliant in it.
Okay.
Especially the trauma acting.
Yeah.
I thought the way she was screaming, she really was believable as a scream queen. I thought the way she was screaming, that really, I believed in her, in the fear when she's in that trailer scene and she's fighting for survival and the baby being kidnapped. That scene with Dee Wallace, for me, that was. I mean, obviously, these are not sort of well established actors and sort of actresses, but for that scene that they did, I believe both of those characters, you know, Brenda and Lynn, they were literally fighting for survival. They were screaming.
Oh, yeah.
They showed the real fear, which added to the movie, because you can get some of these kind of actresses, these models for these horror movies,
Yeah.
and the one they just turn up for these horror movies, they're just kind of stuffed plastic bimbos. They're just stuck there
Yeah.
to look good and just eye
Yeah.
candy, and they don't do anything for the movie. But these two brought something to the movie, because
Oh, yeah.
they brought that fear, and you really sort of like were rooting for them when they're fighting for survival, and you know they're just trying to grab hold of anything to sort of get them off them, you know, from
Yeah.
being attacked. Totally
And I
believable.
think everybody made it more believable because everybody give it that 110%. Like I say, that closing scene, it's
Yeah.
just brutal, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. He did it flipped the coin, didn't it? It was from them being brutalized to them being brutalizing, you know what I mean? It's like you say, Paul, the human psyche flip when you push to extremes like that. That was the perfect way to end the film.
And
You know what I mean?
and that trope has been used so many times since,
Oh,
and
yeah.
still used now.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was an absolute original horror film from 1977. It had everything that would have been banned originally, which was banned. It was on Section 3. So, I mean, we had violence, assaults, brutality, live animals, that's the snake, the spiders, the dead dog carcass. You had the on location. This film ticks every single box to make a perfect horror film, and for me, it achieves it. Really, I think The Hills of Eyes is so underrated, and it's such an inspirational film. It inspired hundreds of thousands of horror films that come after it, no doubt, because this was pre-Halloween as well. So we had that, you know what I mean, to follow.
It's
What do you
just a
guys think?
stone cold classic, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a favourite of mine. It's what's called. I mean, I only pulled out 3 copies, but I think I've got probably
Yeah.
7 or 8.
yeah,
It's one of them films that I can stick on no matter what. Even though it's as brutal and as rough cut as it is, it's one of them that I wouldn't think twice about putting on,
yeah,
and I'd sit there and watch the whole thing.
yeah.
I've got a
'Cause you-
handful of films that you can do that with.
Yeah, because
And
you
this
can
is one
watch
of them.
this. Like I put it on before, and I was sat there, and I should have been doing a few other things, but I just sat there watching it, thinking, "Yes, it's too good to get up and do something." I'm just sat there watching it, and I was like, "Ah, bloody hell, look at the time!" And you know what I mean? Because it's that you're invested in these characters, and you're invested in the story, and you want to see these people survive, and you want to see them succeed and live to tell the tale. It's one of them.
Yeah, it's a cult horror classic. And like I say, I love the grimy feel to the movie. I mean, I think we get sort of, especially new modern day movie fans, I think everybody kind of gets roped into this. Oh, you know, big blockbuster, how well movies have got to look. That doesn't bother me. You know,
No.
a movie can be cheap as chips if it's well made, and they've got round it the old-fashioned way with no proper effects. And I mean, look what they had to go through to make this movie. Obviously, we got a high-budget remake, which is a fantastic one of the better horror remakes.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, for
You know,
sure.
I'll put it up there with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Yeah, definitely.
whatever. Yeah, I mean that's just as good. But I always just kind of just edge this one for it
Yeah,
being so
definitely.
raw, and the way that the characters look. Obviously, Michael Berryman is a big thing for me, because obviously that unique look that he has in the movie, and you know, a lot of the cannibal family members, you know, they had to kind of put together how they were dressed and everything, but that adds to the movie.
Yeah.
And you know, even look, Ruby, I mean, she's supposed to be the most human one out of the lot, but she's just a dirty sort of looking girl. But just make all these characters really believable, and it's a 70s cult horror classic that I agree with what Davey says. It kind of gets overlooked. You know,
Yeah,
everyone,
does.
you know, you mention all the horror movies in the 70s. Everyone's going to go, they always mention The Exorcist, The Omen, and all those movies. They always kind of sort of forget The Hills of Eyes kind of gets left out of the argument, which I don't know why,
Absolutely.
because it's just kind of spawned on other movies. You know, any sort of horror movie in the desert, it's The Hills of Eyes.
Yeah.
Classic.
Right,
Didn't
guys.
need
I
that.
think we've talked this one to death.
Definitely. Unless you want me to
yeah.
go through another half an hour of trivia on the film.
Yeah, we could start with. I mean,
We didn't. I'll tell you one thing we didn't talk about. My favourite line in the film
go on then.
when Big Bob goes back to the gas station and the old man's stringing himself up and he says
Oh, the
about
hanging.
scaring off the trespassers. Is this how you deal with trespassers, by hanging yourself or something
Yeah.
along those lines? Hilarious. But he's a good character, and I like the way he tells the story
Yeah,
about the son with the
Yeah.
that's well. But like you say, with these low budget films, if they're well made
yeah,
and the actors are believable and you're actually rooting for them,
that's it.
to Dengue, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
No, it's a win-win-win, isn't it? No matter what, that's why I'm not a fan of modern horror films. It takes a lot for me to sit through half of these
Yeah.
things because half of it's CGI, half of it's just plastic scripts. I don't believe in the characters. It just doesn't do nothing for me anymore. I've seen it all before, and it keeps getting regurgitated. So
It's
when you
got to
watch
be something special, hasn't it? To
what, yeah, when you watch something like this, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like going back into when they did make movies. You know what I mean?
I
So
love
Yeah.
this film.
Yeah.
Can't
I mean,
praise it enough.
the words that Paul said, guerrilla filmmaking, it's
Yeah.
that to the fullest. You know, I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is another example. You know, how a low budget movie and an idea and just improvising with what they had and went along with that. Obviously, there's not a shitload of blood in this or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's just the thought, the scenarios that they're actually in. You know, obviously with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when they're in the house, the scenarios. Obviously, the scenario here is in the desert that you hear these voices, you hear these noises. That would just send you crazy and sort of like fearful for your life. And Wes Craven, Paul, he made a stone cold classic for me.
Yeah, absolute classic.
It is. Right, chaps. I think that is us. I think on the Hills of Eyes. If you've not seen the Hills of Eyes, shame on you all because we recommend it. All three of us recommend it. It's an inspiration. It was pre-Halloween. It was right smack bang in the guerrilla filmmaking, and it held a punch. So Hills of Eyes, 1977. Go and check that one out. So Carlos, do you want to say to the guys what's coming next?
Yeah, first things first. Again, we want to thank Paul
Absolutely.
Brumhorror for being
Thanks for
our
having me.
special guest.
Thanks
Because
for
this was
having
an
me.
episode we've been planning on doing for quite a while. And as soon as Paul, I threw a couple of mentions out to him, and when Paul said the Hills of Eyes, and I said, you know what, me and Davey have actually been thinking of doing the Hills of Eyes as an episode. So
Yeah.
it was
No-brainer.
It was a no-brainer that we was going to do this movie. So guys, like I say, if you don't follow Paul Brum Horror on Instagram, go on there, follow him, see
You're
see
missing out.
see all the horror.
Give us
horror
a follower
collector.
about 30 away from 5,000. So
Wow. And yeah, just give him a follow. See all these horror collectibles that he picks up and all these movies releases that he picks. He's always posting something on Instagram.
And I've got to say, because we get this quite a lot, this collection, it's only half mine. It rates buys and collects as much. Brumhorror's as much as me. It's just usually me posting the stuff But
I have said to you, obviously, I know Paul's got a young kid, a young baby, but like, you know, Paul would absolutely would fare well. The two of you as a couple, you know, having a YouTube channel. But you know, when the time's right,
it's coming.
when the time's
Yeah.
right, I look forward to it because, like I say, absolute. I mean, Paul and Rachel got an absolute collection of horror and other movies to their collection. So for sure, obviously, the following he's got on Instagram, it would just go along with that on YouTube for sure. And when you do jump over, no doubt we'll shout you out and everything on that. But the next episode, episode 19, we're going to be actually, it's a request, isn't it, Davey?
Yeah, we've had a couple of requests from the guys who watch the podcast. Yeah, so this is a request. I'm pretty sure there could have been a handful of people who've requested this one. So yeah,
we will mention that. We'll when we do the episode, we will mention their names. And well, it's an 80s supernatural, early 80s supernatural slasher. I don't want to give too much away, but if you guys remember horror movies in the 80s, quite an iconic cover with somebody holding a cross. So I'll leave it at that. So that is coming up next on Horror Movie Memories, episode 19. Again, we want to thank Paul for making
Thanks for having me, guys.
For making a fantastic
pleasure.
Cheers, Paul.
Right, everybody. So as Carlos has just said, watch out for the next one, and please go over to Instagram and check out Brum Horror Paul and get him to 5,000. You know what I mean? Because no one deserves it more than that guy. Right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon. So goodbye, everybody.
Take care.